The scream cut through me like a jagged blade. I was 3 steps from the door when I heard it. My daughter's voice, high, terrified, cracking in a way I had never heard before. "Daddy, help." I dropped the grocery bag. Eggs shattered. Glass tore through apples. None of it mattered. I kicked the door open, the lock nearly ripping from the frame. He was standing over her, his hand clenched around her hair, yanking her backward, her tiny fists swinging wildly. His other hand, God help me, was wrapped around her throat. And she, my Emily, was turning red. I froze for just a second. Not out of fear. Out of recognition. Because in that moment, I finally saw the man I had spent 38 years trying not to see, my father. And I knew exactly what I had to do. He used to be a hero in my eyes. Tall, charismatic, the kind of man who could command a room with a whisper. But he loved control more than he ever loved me. My brother Jason was the golden child. Always had been. Varsity quarterback, straight C's, and a grin that melted our mother's disappointment. I was the quiet one. Top of my class, I built my life from scratch and bought my apartment outright at 32, a $260,000 corner unit with sunlight in the mornings and silence at night. When my wife died in that train accident, I unraveled quietly. Emily was 6. She didn't understand grief, only absence. I held her tighter than ever. She was all I had left. 2 months after the funeral, my father showed up with Jason. "We need to talk," he said, like he was announcing a business merger. They sat across from me at the dining table I hadn't touched since her death. "I think it's time you transfer this apartment to your brother," he said. No hesitation. No shame. "Excuse me?" I asked. Jason smiled like this had all been rehearsed. "You're single now, living with a kid. You don't need a place like this." Jason and his fiancée could use the space. I laughed. I actually laughed. For a second, I thought it was a joke. It wasn't. "No," I said. My father's smile cracked only slightly. "You owe this family." That was when I saw the threat behind his teeth. "I owe no one," I said. "Get out." He stood slowly, leaned in close enough for me to smell his cologne, still the same brand from when I was a child, still reeking of control. "You'll regret this," he said. 3 days later, I had to step out for groceries. 20 minutes, tops. I never should have left her alone. He had a key. I had forgotten. He must have copied it when I was younger, back when I was still naive enough to believe his interest in my life was love and not surveillance. He came in and demanded Emily tell him where I kept the deed. She said no, brave little thing, just like her mother. So he punished her. The second I saw his hands on her, something broke in me. I didn't scream. I didn't lunge. I told him to let her go. My voice was cold. And he did. Maybe because he saw something in my eyes that even he feared. Emily ran to her room. He laughed. "You made her soft," he said. I walked toward him. "You just made the worst mistake of your life," I replied. He left that night, storming out with curses, threats, and the arrogance of a man who believed he still held the upper hand. He didn't know that I had cameras installed 6 months ago, after the first time he raised his voice at Emily and I watched her flinch. He didn't know the entire attack was captured in 4K. And he didn't know I had friends in very quiet, very legal places. The planning took weeks. First, I gathered the footage, edited nothing, let every second of his violence play out in full clarity. Second, I visited an old friend, now a respected child psychologist, who evaluated Emily. The bruises, the trauma, the nightmares. She documented everything. Then I met with a lawyer, not a flashy one, a meticulous one. He helped me prepare charges: assault, child endangerment, attempted coercion, and most importantly, emotional abuse spanning years. But I wasn't done. Jason had a wedding coming up, a grand affair funded, of course, by my father. I waited until the rehearsal dinner, rented a quiet corner of the same venue, and invited a few carefully selected guests, my father's business partners, his pastor, Jason's fiancée's family, a curated audience. I stood before them and played the footage. No introduction. Just silence. Then Emily screamed. Gasps. One woman covered her mouth. Jason stood up. My father went pale. I'm pressing charges tomorrow, I said, calm as the sea before a storm. I've already sent copies to the authorities. My father stammered and tried to lie, but I held up the documents. And just in case he thought this was only legal, I turned to Jason. Your loan application was denied because of an anonymous tip about your tax fraud. You're welcome. His jaw dropped. He had no idea I knew. I did. I always did. But I waited. Waited until it mattered. Court was swift. The video spread through legal circles. My father's reputation crumbled. Sponsors pulled out of his ventures. His house was vandalized, not by me, not directly. Karma has excellent aim when you nudge her the right way. Jason's fiancée left him 2 weeks later. She took the dog and half the money. Emily got therapy and a lock on her door. I changed our locks too, and the deed remained in my name. People ask if I regret not doing something sooner. No. I waited for the perfect strike, because revenge isn't about rage. It's about precision. And now, every time I look at Emily sleeping safely in the room her mother once designed, I know I did exactly what needed to be done. My father wanted me to give up my home. Instead, I took his pride, his legacy, his illusion of control. One screen. One camera. One cold, calculated plan. That's all it took. He taught me power. He just never imagined I'd use it better than he did.